My Hero Academia, it's here. And hold on, 30
naming-
seconds. Thurman, give me 30 seconds just to say, if you don't watch our One Piece reviews, I had a longer explanation about why this is so late there, so you can check that out. But basically just scheduling conflicts, etc., etc. We're going to keep trying to get them out ASAP, but sometimes life gets in the way. And that's about it for that. All right, Thurman, what do you got?
So instead of calling this, we're just renaming this whole series. It's no longer My Hero Academia. It's My Thurman Academia because.
Oh, what did you call? What I forgot.
Call,
you were boasting about calling shit in the chat. What's up?
Everything in this chapter. I call it pretty much everything in this chapter.
Okay.
Red, remember last review, you were talking about how Endeavor wasn't going towards this guy. He was going somewhere else because of the positioning of the camera work and everything like that. Hawks with the
they did
Hawks
the dot. They did the little
Endeavor.
like panel, like smaller panel, dot, implying a scene change. Yes, I remember that.
And Hawks wasn't going to meet Endeavor because he was somewhere else. He was on top of like a building. He just got done meeting, and Hawks wasn't going to try to talk to Endeavor about the Liberation Front. And what do you know? Is that everything about this chapter is what I called.
Well, when you're right, you're right. Damn it.
It's definitely getting to a point where Hirokoshi is definitely my spirit animal or something.
Do you remember like 3 chapters ago when I called some shit and you were like, "Red, are you Horikoshi?" and we had a whole running gag about that?
Yeah, but let's be fair, I've called way more stuff in this.
Is it like Launch where like every time he sneezes, like one of us gains like spiritual control of his body?
Yeah, I wish I had that ability with like other manga, but it's just
let's be honest, you'd use it in like a hentai pro tag way and like fucking go into like whammon bodies and deal yourself or something. That laugh is very incriminating. I was joking. That'd be horrible. In that hypothetical scenario, that'd be a horrible thing to do.
I did not laugh like that.
Yes, you did. I mean, this man just fucking. I didn't do that.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty sure many women would do that and touch their own up their penis.
Well, I mean, most women I talk to want to experience helicoptering a dick.
Like moving the okay.
Yeah,
so,
helicoptering it.
So,
Idiot.
and that's not weird. So there you go.
It's weird. All right, you know what? I won't go into it, but consent matters in this hypothetical body switch hentai protag scenario.
The man wants to do it. Sexist.
We need a happy sex tag on this hypothetical hentai scenario. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
let's talk. Okay, I want to talk about this chapter and why I love it, and I'm very thankful for it because I was having a weird day, just a day where I was just laying around doing nothing. I felt kind of numb to the world. Sometimes you have those, and this chapter brought me out of that funk, because it was one of those chapters where you felt the adrenaline. Like, you literally felt like Horikoshi has a way with his art of making you feel so sucked into the pages, and like this whole chase scene, like I just felt so engaged in it and like wrapped up in it, and I felt the speed, and it was like riding a roller coaster. I felt the adrenaline. I was like, yeah, get him, Endeavor, and I think that there is something to be said about the way Horikoshi paces and does the art for this chapter, because he allows himself to take time and really detail out this chase scene. It wasn't like, because again, like as much as I love Oda, his biggest weakness, especially as of late, has been just rushing through everything because he has so many fucking details. So for a fact if this was in a lesser manga or let's say like One Piece, if it was a chase scene in One Piece, it would most likely just be like an offhand corner panel, like they're chasing and now we're going to off screen and then we'll come back on screen when they've caught them, but Horikoshi has the time to really just show it, because he hasn't, and to be fair, that it's a teeter-totter thing, right? It's like Horikoshi has a less big world, his world building isn't as good, he doesn't have as big of a cast, but because of that, he has more time to expand on things, and I just appreciate chapters that are just a fucking awesome chase scene, and I just loved it. It was one of those really action-packed, intense chapters, and I appreciate the fact that Horikoshi just slowed down and showed us the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree, especially because it kind of I find it funny too, because just like while they're chasing, right, Endeavor's like, "You're in my territory, bitch." And then,
Which what isn't his territory, by the way? Like I assume like the whole fucking. I don't know. I just assumed like everything because did All Might have a territory? Also, did he actually say you're in my territory, or are you like fucking ad-libbing right now?
Yeah, and he says you thought you'd get away with it in my territory.
Oh, okay.
On my official manga app.
Oh, hey, it happened. All right, no. That's another thing I wanted to say. Speaking of comparing to All Might, and then I'll let you say your thing. What I like about this is like in early My Hero Academia, we saw how All Might would get around. And he got around by just like fucking like Incredible Hulk jumping from fucking place to place. So this seems to be a trend with like number one heroes, or at least like the top 10 or whatever, because like Hawks can fly around. Fucking, I'm not sure if Best Jeanist has a way to get around this quickly, or if he just fucking fancily struts down the fucking sidewalk.
Spider-Man levels.
Does he? Have we seen that?
No, I don't know, but I can
probably. But that's amazing. Yeah, on like fucking threads, like Doflamingo through the sky. I'm into it. But I just love that kind of like we see Endeavor's version of like All Mighting through the city, which is just like flying. And by the way, in true Endeavor fashion, he does not give a fuck about bystanders because he's fighting this guy in midair, and the people in the building are like, "Oh, it's so hot, we gotta get out of here." And I was immediately like, Endeavor, still a fuckface.
That's actually so funny to me too.
The funniest thing, though, I love this running gag of everyone in the world that doesn't know Deku just knows him for the one time he was on TV, which is when he snapped all fucking 10 of his fingers in half. So, Hawks is like, oh yeah, you're the kid that, like, blew his fingers off on TV. And, because remember, I don't remember who it was exactly, but I'm pretty sure in the Gentle Criminal arc, I'm pretty sure it was either Gentle or LaBrava said the same shit. Like, oh, it's the kid that blew his fucking fingers off. Like, I love that that's, like, what people know about him, because I imagine that was a big talking point in the My Hero world for a while. Like, did you see that kid that, like, broke all of his fingers by flicking air? I love that. That made me chuckle.
It's just imagine just like the amount of like how much he's grown from that. It's just you're just like, oh yeah, you're the kid who like blew his fingers. How's that going up for you? Is that your quirk, blowing fingers?
Very popular with the ladies, blowing and fingering.
What a great quirk you have, sir. That's just so funny.
Is that your voice for Hawks? What the fuck is that?
Not even.
It was like a fucking like low tier Sans voice from Undertale. Like,
you did that too well. I'm mad. You did that way too well. That's scary to me. That was literally way too. Like you've been playing. You need to relax. That was way
controversial opinion. Undertale is probably like my legit favorite game. That might be cancerous, but I love it.
The fan base is cancerous.
Yeah, because it's so good. But I don't get into it.
That's not an excuse.
It is! Okay, listen. Just a quick aside. No specific fan base is cancerous or not. It has everything to do with the amount of people in it. I will say this time and time again. Let's just arbitrarily say that 1 out of 10 people are psychopaths. By pure numbers, the more people you have in a fandom, the more psychopaths you're going to have. Therefore, the larger the fandom, the more cancerous. Done deal.
Yeah, My Hero Academia has fallen into that trap.
Yeah. Trap. All right, but so how do you feel about Endeavor? So okay, first I'll say I love this guy's power. Glass manipulation, I'm into it. He's sucking the windows out, and he was about to fucking like glass spirit bomb the town. And am I the only one that legit wanted to know what the fuck that was gonna do? Like what would that do? Cover the city in molten glass, shatter and like glass shards everywhere? What would have that done? That glass bomb.
I like the design of that too.
It just looked cool as fuck. I was like, "What is this?" That was the first time in a while where I was like, besides JoJo, because JoJo it's every chapter, but first time in a while where I was like, "What is this power? What is he doing?"
Glass ball, and then he comes. This is some Dragon Ball Z shit. He was just
spirit bomb.
I will destroy the planet.
I'll destroy all you monkeys.
Endeavor's like, no.
He literally flew into that bitch and just like that was straight up some DBZ shit. You're right. Like flew into it and then did like a fucking like just like a taunt in like a fighting game. Like
So what's funny to me is just like how he set Endeavor up for a trap, right? And then the big
I
three
love
were
that entire scene.
coming
Yeah.
in. The Hawks were just like, nah, bitch, nah, sorry, and let me just take that off your hands. Like, imagine. Like, here's the thing that was funny too. Back in when the series first started, Chapter 1, hero debuts. How do you get your hero debut? By beating villains. And what was this is how technically
And we
how
saw Mount Lady and the tree guy trying.
Yeah.
Right?
Mount Lady literally stole the dude's credit, and then it was just fucking funny as shit. So it's just like this, right? So it's just like, all right, it's my turn to shine. It was Hawks like, yeet.
That, yeah, and by the way, it shows we get some speed feats added to the respect thread here. One, that he was literally, so first for Endeavor, he was already out of their sight by the time they even heard the sonic boom. Like, I love that Horikoshi added that descriptor, because I can totally imagine that. Like, you're just sitting there, and he's just like, better keep up with me, and it's like, what? And then you look up, and he's gone, and then all of a sudden, it's just like, ah! I love that. And then second of all, just purely how fucking fast Hawks is, because literally you can see it from page to page. Deku's in the middle of his kick. Bakugo looked like he was going to do that thing with his grenade arm where he, like, pulls the pin, I assume. I don't know. But, like, they were both about to do their attacks, and then just, like in the blink of an eye, like, boop, he's just there, and he takes him down. Insanely fast.
Yeah, man, it's just...
And Bakugo made it be known. Like, listen, I was still there first. Like I got there first, Hawks.
They did, but Hawks is just a little bit faster. That flight speed is no joke, man. This chapter is like kind of short too. I just realized that.
Short, but this is like my ideal My Hero chapter. Like, it's just, well, excluding the slice of life, because slice of life in My Hero is always godly. But like, man, like, it was just such a good chapter. Like, I don't know what it was about this particular chapter, but it just got me hyped. And when it can get me out of like a depressing stupor, because I've been in one lately, and it got me out of it. Like, these are the kind of chapters that I just want to go up to, like, the author and be like, thank you. You make life just fucking livable sometimes. Like just little things like this. I love it.
Yeah, so what's interesting to me is this, man. Is this
the final thing, his little secret message to Endeavor?
Yeah, the one.
Bruh. He straight up, do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Redestro right now?
His shining light. No, so look at this shit. What the villain says about Endeavor.
On your official manga app?
Yes. That one is the root cause. His shining light beckons the dark. It
you're talking about the fucking prophecy from that guy. Yeah, that guy seems to be like a shaman or like a fortune teller. That's high key. Like, that's sus as fuck. You're right. That's some foreshadowing. Insane. Endeavor's gonna do some shit. Either they're gonna use Endeavor, or Endeavor's gonna make a mistake that's going to, like, be a huge deal and plunge the world into darkness.
Like, holy shit, man. Yeah. Like, goddamn.
That's like on some fucking Oda level, where remember when the narration came out after the Grand Fleet formed, and Oda was like, yeah, this Grand Fleet's gonna fuck some shit up in the future, and it's gonna be bad.
So it's just so funny. It's just like, oh my god, I love shit like this, because it
gets you so hyped.
It gives us some perspective. Because here's the thing, right? You guys remember watching Full Metal Alchemist, right? So
love it.
What made the first episode of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood so good? Well, I don't know about the manga, but what made it so good is that the first villain in the series, that guy was the first one to realize the corruption of the government that he was in. Like, do you realize?
You're talking
that,
about
right?
the father, the priest guy that was trying to pretend like he was, like, actually doing miracles, but it was actually just the son?
No, the one.
Oh, you're talking about Brotherhood.
Like,
yeah, that's high key a filler scene, like, brother.
Alchemy and something.
So you're talking about the like ice guy or whatever?
Yeah. Like,
yeah. All right. Well, I will be honest with you. That I always skip that episode, because that is genuinely not a fucking. that's filler.
That's filler?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, at least this is how I understood it. It was an anime that was after the original Fullmetal Alchemist, but they wanted to retell the story of Fullmetal Alchemist, but actually, because the original Fullmetal Alchemist ended in filler, right? So what they did in Brotherhood was they told it from the perspective of, like, oh, here's Ed, already a state alchemist, and we gotta, like, introduce this thing, and like, so they pulled a weirdity. It was kind of similar to how, like, in Hunter x Hunter 2011, which is also a filler-free anime, they just for some reason decided to not introduce Kite when he actually is introduced in the manga, and then retroactively introduce him later. So yeah, that the actual beginning of Full Metal Alchemist is where they go to the father guy, like the priest that's like using the stone.
Okay, well, I'm gonna.
But
use
hey,
that.
I mean, filler can be good. I've seen some godly fillers. So please continue to use it as an example.
Okay, so I'm gonna use that filler episode example. So if that was the case, you do realize that guy was the one who.
Did you say if that was the case? Are you doubting me?
No, bitch. I was saying like if that was the case, that it was actually like like if it like in some distant future, some timeline, it was actually like wasn't filler.
I mean, it's okay. Whatever. Go ahead.
I'm not doubting you. My point is missing. Point being is that we do realize that if you guys remember that guy was the first guy who knew about the corruption of the government, and the reason why he did what he did because I wouldn't say he was trying to stop it, but he was more so like he knew like what the fuck the government was doing, but everyone else thought he was fucking insane. Like Ed thought he was crazy. Al thought he was crazy. Like people thought he was fucking insane, but to reality he wasn't because he was right. Homunculi was in the government. Like it was big corruption, all this shit. So I can see the same thing here. Everyone thinks this guy's crazy because he's a villain, but maybe he's not so crazy after all.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, he's kind of like he's clearly being written as like a metaphor or an analogy or an allegory or one of those fancy words for kind of like your typical like crazy person on the street. I'm sure you've seen them in plenty of fiction or potentially even in real life because you used to live in California. People on the fucking streets like, doom, the end times are coming. Yeah, right? Like, and usually, yeah, I mean, in real life, you're like fucking crazy, but like fiction likes to kind of turn it on its head and be like, what if they weren't crazy though, you know? So I have a feeling that, yeah, this guy potentially he has like a family that can fortune tell or something. I don't know. I mean, he clearly like runs a cult because he had like two dudes that were like, oh, the chosen hero of the stars just told us to do what we had to. So there's like a cult following for this guy, clearly. I don't know. It's interesting. But, like, yeah, I mean, clearly they're foreshadowing some bullshit. And I can see it now. Like, I can see a couple scenarios. Either Shigaraki's going to have a plan involving Endeavor, and then Endeavor's going to, like, do something that allows Shigaraki to succeed. Or, my personal favorite, just to really twist that knife in, I hope Endeavor is somehow involved in the death of All Might.
Like Endeavor killed All Might.
I mean, he doesn't have to kill him directly, but it could be something like a mistake that Endeavor leads to All Might's death.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly.
And then can you imagine? Because I mean, All Might's come to like he always had that rivalry with him, but it would be like, you know, I never wanted this. I never wanted to be responsible for your death. You know, like imagine how Bakugo felt, but like on acid, on steroids. I didn't mean to say on acid. Steroids makes more sense. How Bakugo felt, but on steroids, right? Because Bakugo was like, it's my fault he lost his powers. Can you imagine the guilt Endeavor would feel if it, like somehow it was like slightly his fault for All Might dying?
Yeah, I can see that, especially since he's trying to change himself as a person. It is moving backwards.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I guarantee Twitter would be like, yeah, see? We told you he was still an asshole. Yeah. I can see that.
People love to not forgive. Yeah.
Oh, that's an awful trait humans have.
Yeah, for real. There was I hear there was a guy a couple 2,000 years ago or so that came down and was like, yo, you guys should be more forgiving. Talking about Jesus. Y'all need Jesus.
They really do.
Endeavor needs Jesus. All right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is this like a new suit reveal for Endeavor on page like 8-ish? I don't know, it might be 7 or 9 for you, but... Or have we seen this suit before? Because it just looks like extra as fuck, and I dig it.
It looks kind of new.
The shoulder shit, I don't know, like, he looks like he's got like real chonky, big, extended shoulders. I just like the design. I don't remember if we've seen it or not.
I would not if it was new.
See. Now, what do you think? I guess the last thing to talk about here is like Hawks' little coded message to Endeavor. What do you think he's trying to get across with this? Because what I love, again, I made the joke earlier. He really, the way he's saying it in a very obvious way, like because the way he's talking very much like a Mormon that just knocked at your door would talk, right? I mean literally, like a dude who's like, "Hi, do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior?" You know what I mean? Like he literally, and as someone who is deep into politics and has a roommate who literally has a copy of the Communist Manifesto. That part where he's like, yeah, it's so accurate, like it was written so long ago, but it so currently reflects our current times. It was, like that is literally some shit that people say about like the Communist Manifesto or like any of these political books. I love the way it's written because he's absolutely talking like a cult person, like someone who's like just read an ideology and they're like really into it and probably a little too into it. So at first I was sitting there like, uh-oh, Hawks, did they like brainwash you? But no, then you see his inner monologue and he's trying to kind of get through to Endeavor like, hey, notice that this is weird, and please notice that this is weird. And I think that he's trying to be so overtly creepy about it that Endeavor looks into it. I'm guessing that's his plan. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Because, I mean, because he wants Endeavor to know what's going on about the Liberation Front, because the number one hero should know. So he's doing this because I believe he's talking is being tapped by Dobby, I believe. So I'm pretty sure he's talking like this because he has to beat around the bush. So here's the thing: I feel like the reason why Hirokoshi has the big three in here is because I feel like he wants them to know like what's going on too. Like because they're gonna.
Are we gonna get them in on the whole fucking like knowledge of the Liberation Army and like how the film?
They might. I think they might because you see Deku is just like, wait, media liberation war. Like it's because I feel like they're definitely going to kind of press. Press the thing here. I don't know how smart Endeavor is. I don't know if he has any intelligence feats. So I don't know if he'll get it right away.
He doesn't seem like the smart. He seems, if anything, he's just like a normal dude, like that average intelligence. Like he doesn't seem smart or dumb. He's just like a normal dude.
So I'm interested to see how far Hirokoshi's going to take this, because I'm assuming once like this Hawks is done with this, he'll be like, oh, okay, I gotta go, take the book. So he's gonna be like, that's gonna be it. So I'm curious because we do know there's a lot of heroes in the Liberation Front. So imagine if there's fucking like almost every hero organization has at least one who's in the Liberation Front among them, right? So that's interesting.
Damn. Yeah.
It's just like, all right, Endeavor, you are the only thing that stands between us and a gigantic fucking army. Because, I mean, they literally... Keep in mind, we said it again, Shigaraki basically has enough power to topple the hero system. Like, he has enough power.
Yeah, he's got the army, he's got the fucking city-destroying, like, attack. It's getting kind of crazy.
So it's interesting to see what's going to happen here, because I'm going to be honest, I doubt anyone right now is really strong enough to take on Shigaraki right now. Maybe Endeavor, but I mean,
he's definitely like, at least from the way that Horikoshi's been portraying him, feat-wise, like he seems definitely in that like top 10 hero like zone, right? Like no average heroes taking him on, no students taking him on. Like this would require an All Might, an Endeavor, a Hawks. I don't even know. Like, yeah, you're right. So I mean, or maybe just like a bunch of people fighting against him. But then therein lies the problem. He has a bunch of people. He's got a whole army now. So it's I mean, at this point, it's just when will he attack? And when he does, it's going to be bad. And we're getting some foreshadowing that Endeavor's going to have a role in that, obviously. And maybe he'll fuck up. I don't know. But I smell that sweet, sweet All Might death coming closer and closer.
Oh, yeah. So this is a great chapter. I give it a...
not as good as One Piece out of 10.
I'd probably give it like an 8.
And don't get triggered, guys. This week's One Piece was so good it trended #1 worldwide on Twitter.
An 8 or 7.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. It was just a fun chapter. Brought me out of my funk for today. And overall, just bring back Gentle Criminal. You know what I need. I need me some Gentle Criminal. He was best boy.
Yep.
And with that.
Peace.